Shalom, Israel. This is a quick video on whether we have to keep the feast days or whether we don't keep the feast days anymore. There are a lot of Israelites who don't believe that you have to keep the feast days. Most Israelites appear to believe you do have to keep the feast days. So we're going to go into a few scriptures. It's going to be very simple. It's not something hard to understand. So we're going to go into the scriptures and show whether you have to keep the feast days or you don't. Okay. We're going to start with Numbers 28, verse 16. And in the 14th day of the first month is the Passover of the Lord. So he's giving you the day that the Passover is. It's the 14th day of the month. And in the 15th day of the month is the feast. 7 days shall unleavened bread be eaten. In the first day shall be a holy convocation. Ye shall do no manner of servile therein, work therein. So he's telling you that on the 14th day of the first month is the Passover, and then the 15th day is the feast of unleavened bread for 7 days. That means it's a total of, you have the Passover, which starts in the evening, and then the next day in the morning starts the 7 days of unleavened bread. The first day of unleavened bread is a holy convocation. Okay, so he's telling you what date. Okay, so for anyone that say that you don't really know what day to do the feast day, or you're going by the Gregorian calendar, we don't go by the Gregorian calendar or Esau's calendar. We go by the way the scriptures tell us to go by. We go by the moon. Okay, now some go by the full moon, some go by the dark moon, some go by a sliver. I mean, there are different Israelites that have different understandings of when the feast day, how you count the feast days. But it's not based off of Esau's calendar, it's based off of the moon, whether you're doing the full moon, dark moon, or quarter moon. Okay? That's how we count the feast days. And this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast to the Lord throughout your generations. Ye shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever. Okay? Now we see it says forever. It doesn't say only during Old Testament times or when Christ come, that's the end of the feast. It says forever. When you see forever, it means forever. When you see throughout your generations, that means as long as Israelites are generating, having babies, we are to keep this holy feast. Christ didn't come and do away with the Passover, because some Israelites believe, oh, Christ came and he's the Passover, so we don't have to do the Passover anymore. That's incorrect. It says that this is forever. It's an ordinance forever throughout your generations. So any Israelite that don't want to keep the feast day, most of them that do that are either wicked, they don't like keeping laws, they want to do what they want to do. Some of them, they may not have knowledge and believe that we don't really know when the feast days are. But a lot of them are just wicked Israelites that don't want to keep the feast days. I mean, they have other things they want to do. They consider it hard to keep a feast day when it's very easy. So that answers the question of whether you have to keep it. Now, this is, like I said, it's talking about the Passover, but it goes for any of them. I'm not going to go through every high holy day, but this is just telling you this to be kept. It's a feast to the Lord throughout your generation. Ye shall keep the feast by an ordinance forever. Forever means forever. It doesn't mean forever and not forever. If you go into Strong's Concordance, you will see that when you look up forever, it tells you it's perpetual. It's forever. The Strong's number for it is H, as in hotel, 5769. Olam is the word. And what does it mean? Long duration, antiquity, perpetuity, forever, ever, everlasting, evermore, perpetual, old, ancient, world, ancient time, long time, or past, forever, always. See, it means always. It means perpetual, meaning it never stops. Continuous existence. It means it's continuous. It never stops. Perpetual, everlasting, indefinite, or unending future, eternity. That's what forever means. So when it says that you're to keep this ordinance forever, it means it's perpetual, it's forever. It doesn't cease. So all Israelites that are not keeping it, you need to keep it, or you're going to be judged for not keeping it. Let's go to Exodus 12, verse 17. And ye shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, for in the same day have I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore shall ye observe this day in your generations by an ordinance forever. So again, it's telling you forever. It's an ordinance forever. And it tells you the reason why we're keeping it. Let's go to Exodus 12, verse 42. It is a night to be much observed unto the Lord for bringing them out from the land of Egypt. This is that night of the Lord to be observed of all the children of Israel in their generations. If you're not a child of Israel, then that's up to you. You don't have to keep it. But if you consider yourself to be one of the 12 tribes of Israel, it says you have to that to be observed of all the children of Israel in their generations. All the children of Israel. If you say I'm a child, I'm one of the children of Israel, I'm in one of the 12 tribes, and you don't keep it, then you are breaking the Most High's law. It says it right here. It's to be observed of all the children, all, A-L-L. That means every single Israelite is to observe this throughout and in their generation. So in your generation, you're to keep it. In your parents' generation, the previous generations, the generations to come, in every generation, you are to keep this. And if you don't, you're breaking the Most High's laws and you're wicked. Let's go to Esther 9, verse 20 through 28. And this is dealing with Purim. And Mordecai wrote these things and sent letters unto all the Jews that were in the provinces of the king Ahasuerus, both nigh and far, to establish, meaning to establish this among them, that they should keep the 14th day of the month Adar and the 15th day of the same year, as the days wherein the Jews rested from their enemies, and the month which was turned unto them from sorrow to joy, and from mourning into a good day, that they should make them days of feasting and joy, and of sending portions one to another, and gifts to the poor. Verse 23, and the Jews undertook to do as they had begun, and as Mordecai had written unto them. Because Aman, the son of Hamathathiah, and Agagite, the enemy of all the Jews, had devised against the Jews to destroy them, and had cast pur, that is, the lot, to consume them and destroy them. But when Esther came before the king, he commanded by letters that his wicked device, which he devised against the Jews, should return upon his own head, and that he and his sons should be hanged by the gallows. Wherefore they call these days Purim, after the name of Pur. Therefore, for all the words of this letter, and of that which they have seen concerning this matter, and which had come unto them, the Jews ordained and took upon them, and upon their seed, and upon all such as joined themselves unto them, so as it should not fail, that they would keep these 2 days according to their writing, and according to the appointed time of the year. Verse 28, and that these days should be remembered and kept throughout every generation. So Purim is to be kept throughout every generation. That means As long as you are generating and you have a seed, you are to continue to keep Purim. Every family, every province, and every city, and that these days of Purim should not fail from among the Jews. Or if you're a Jew, if you're an Israelite, it said it should not fail. So for any Israelite that say, "Oh, you don't have to keep the feast days. We don't know when it is, or we just don't have to keep it anymore. They're done away with the feast days." This is not what it says. This is not what the law says. This is not what the scripture says. I'm not sure what scriptures you're reading, but according to the scriptures I read, it's to be kept throughout every generation. And it's to be kept by every family and every province and every city. And that these days of Purim should not fail. It shouldn't stop from among the Jews, nor the memorial of them perish from their seed. This should continue, and you should be teaching your kids to keep it so your seed line continues to keep it and be blessed. Okay, now this right here is Mordecai in the Apocrypha. This is in the Apocrypha. This is dealing with Esther, the continuation of the letters of Esther. It said, "Then Mordecai said, God hath done these things. For I remember a dream which I saw concerning these matters, and nothing thereof hath failed. A little fountain became a river, and there was light, and the sun, and much water. This is the river. This river is Esther, Queen Esther, which whom the king married and made queen." Verse 7. "And the two dragons are I and Ammon, and the nations were those that were assembled to destroy the name of the Jews. And my nation is this Israel." This is Mordecai. He said, "My nation is Israel, which cried to God and were saved. For the Lord hath saved his people, and the Lord hath delivered us from all those evils. And God hath brought signs and great wonders, which have not been done among the Gentiles. Therefore hath he made two lots, one for the people of God," that would be the Israelites. Those are the people of God. The scriptures tell you that those that you have to be from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob to be a child of God. Okay, so he's saying, therefore, there are two lots, one for the people, the children of God, the Israelites, and another for the Gentiles. And these two lots came at the hour and time and day of judgment before God among all nations. So God remembered his people and justified his inheritance. Therefore, those days shall be unto them in the month Adar, the 14th and the 15th day of the same month, with an assembly. You're to get together and joy and with gladness before God, according to the generations forever among his people. Again, forever, according to the generations forever. Every generation is supposed to keep this Purim, and it tells you the dates. So we know exactly when you keep the Purim. It doesn't matter if some Israelites are doing it. I mean, it matters that they're not doing it on the correct day. They need to search the scriptures so they understand exactly what day. But that doesn't mean you don't do it. At least they are doing it. The Israelites that aren't doing it, the Most High is going to judge definitely. The ones that may be doing it incorrectly, we don't know. Maybe the Most High will wink his eye. Maybe when Christ comes, he will straighten it out and tell us exactly what day. But those Israelites that's just not keeping it at all, woe unto you. Let's go to Numbers 15, verse 37 through 41. Verse 37, "And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generations, and that they put upon the fringe of the borders a ribbon of blue." So this is something, you have a lot of Israelites, they won't wear fringes. As simple as it is to put fringes on, or to get someone to put fringes on, they don't want to wear them. Majority of them are in sin. That's why the spirit won't let them wear it, because they're in sin, and they're going to make Israel look bad. A lot of them smoking weed, doing all kind of evil stuff, going to clubs, doing all kind of stuff. A lot of them don't wear it. And they have excuses. Oh, I'm working. I can't wear it. Well, you can wear it under your shirt if you're at work. And then when you get out of work, you can take off whatever you have on and have your fringes on if you're at work. They have an excuse for everything. Oh, I left it at home. How you leave your fringes at home? They're supposed to be on all your shirts. And for the women, it's supposed to be all on all their dresses. So they can't leave it at home. The only ones that leave it at home are ones that's not keeping the law and not wearing fringes. The women who wear fringes, who don't have fringes on, some of them put it on their belt. They put it on their shirts like the men. They're on their jackets so they can switch jackets. And when they don't want to wear fringes, they don't have to wear fringes. That's why they don't put it on their dresses. The women need to have fringes on every dress that they have. If you're serious about keeping the law, the woman will have fringes on every dress, not on the jacket, not on the belt, but actually on the dress and every dress. So she should not be able to forget it. And the man should not be able to forget the fringes either because he has it on all of his shirts. We have to stop making up excuses to sin. Okay? It says, verse 39, and it shall be unto you for a fringe that ye may look upon it and remember all the commandments of the Lord and do them. See, that's the purpose of the fringes, to look upon them and do them. Not to look upon them and not do them, or not be able to look upon them and say the fringes are in my heart. That's not what this scripture says. It says, speaking to the children of Israel, and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generations, not the borders of your heart, but the borders of your garment. Okay? So all those Israelites that say, oh, I wear my fringes in my heart, that's not in the scriptures. Prove that. You have to do what the scriptures say. It says put it on all your garments. And if you don't want to do it, then you're going to be judged for that. You're not going to get out of it. You can't just do what you want to do. You want to be fashionable, or you don't want anybody to know you're Israel, so you can go talk to females and not make Israel look bad. So you don't want to put on there that you have fringes on because you don't want to look bad in front of, you don't want to, when you go out whoring around and doing stuff, you don't want to look bad and people see you're Israel. So you take it off. That's why you don't wear it. If you don't want to sin, you will wear it. A lot of Israel men who don't wear fringes is because they're in sin. And then they'll come to you and say, hey, shalom, brother. Shalom, Ak. And then you know what I say? I say, shalom, wear your fringes. Brother, I left them at home. You left them at home. How you leave fringes at home when they're on every shirt? Well, I keep it in my heart. You wicked, man. How long you been in the truth? We're talking about Israelites that's been in for years. We're not talking about somebody been in for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. We're talking about Israelites that's been in for years, and a lot of them don't wear fringes. They wear them when they feel like it, or maybe they wear them at camp, and then they take it off and go back into the world. They wicked. Every single one of them is wicked. If you take your fringes off when you get home and don't wear them again until you have camp, you're a wicked Israelite. And if your wife does it, she's wicked too, and both of you all are wicked. And I don't understand how they are so confident. They'll have Facebook and everything. Maybe the man has fringes on, the wife don't. How could you? I mean, there's no way I would have fringes on and not my wife have fringes on and take a picture and be on Facebook without fringes on and be an Israelite. There's no way. But a lot of Israel have no shame. They have no fear of the Most High. They don't fear the Most High and don't realize the power of the Most High. And that's why a lot of times Israelites are going through what they're going through. Don't wonder why you can't pay your bills and why you're going through health problems and all kind of stuff and asking the Most High to bless you and saying the Most High will bless you. And you don't even wear fringes. You don't even keep the feast days. You keep the feast days, you have keep them. You don't want to, the scriptures say you're supposed to have a lamb for Passover. You say, oh, well, we're in captivity. We can't get a whole lamb. Well, I've gotten a whole lamb since I was in Israel. When it's just me and my wife and kids, I get a whole lamb. So don't say you can't get a whole lamb. You got congregations that got plenty of money and they won't get a whole lamb. They'll just go get some lamb chops or something and come up and say, well, we're in captivity. But you can go find money to go buy some sneakers. You can find money to do whatever you want to do. When it comes to Passover, you don't want to go get a whole lamb. And it's not that much, a couple $100, 200, 300. You got a congregation. You got 20 people, 100 people, 1,000, 5,000 people. Why you can't buy 3 lambs? It's not that much. And do it correctly. But it's a lot of wicked Israelites. They want to fake like they keeping the law. I'm gonna go over 39 again, and it shall be unto you for a fringe, that ye may look upon it and remember all the commandments of the Lord and do them, and that ye seek not after your own heart and your own eyes, after which ye used to go a whoring, that ye may remember and do all the commandments and be holy unto your God. See, He's your God. Why you got such a problem putting on some fringes? Why you got such a problem keeping the feast days? Why you got such a problem taking your hat off when you're teaching? Like in Paul. Why you got to come up with an excuse for everything? Verse 41, I am the Lord your God, which brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am the Lord your God. God, the Most High, chose us. He could have chose any other nation. He chose us, and the way you repay him is by not wearing fringes. The way you repay him is by not keeping the feast days. The way you repay him is by wearing a hat when the scriptures are going out. That's how you repay the Most High. Or half doing it. Or going to the Feast of Tabernacles and staying 2 or 3 days, and that's it, instead of the 7 days that the scriptures tell you're supposed to stay. Why? And then you sit there and say we're in captivity, and you blame everybody else, Esau and everything. Well, you have an opportunity to change a lot in your life if you decide to keep the commandments and stop playing around. Put your fringes on, man. Wear your beard. These are simple things. This is beginning things. If you can't do that, I know you're not doing anything else. If you're not putting fringes on and not keeping the feast days, I already know you got all kind of sin in your life. I don't even need to know no more about you. If I meet you and you don't have fringes on, I already know you wicked. I don't even need to know anything. I don't need to know anything else. You automatically, I already know you wicked. Because you can't do something basis and some fringes. Let's go to Daniel 7, verse 18. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. See, here it says forever too. We're going to take the kingdom and that we're going to possess the kingdom forever. See, a lot of Israelites, they love that. That forever means forever. But when it comes to feast days and it says forever, that don't mean forever. Don't pick and choose what scriptures you want to, or what stuff you want to believe and take and receive, and what stuff you don't. We're going to take the kingdom and we're going to possess the kingdom forever, and you'll keep the feast days forever. Both are forever throughout your generations. Stop being so wicked. Let's go to Judges 5 and 11. They that are delivered from the noise of archers in the places of drawing water, there shall they rehearse a righteous act of the Lord, even the righteous act towards the inhabitants of his village in Israel. Then shall the people of the Lord go down to the gates. Now, there are several different Israelites. There are several different types of Israelites that don't keep this. It says, they that are delivered from the noise of archers in the place of drawing water, there shall they rehearse a righteous act. See, you're supposed to be rehearsing. To rehearse, you have to show up. Even if you get it wrong, that's what rehearsal is for. When Christ comes back, he will straighten out the little errors that you may have. But you have to rehearse. You can't say, I'm not going to keep the feast days because I don't know perfectly how to keep it. You do it to the best that you can, but you must keep it. You rehearse. I've never seen anyone rehearse and don't show up. How can you rehearse for football practice and don't show up to football practice? You got a lot of Israelites say, oh, I'm rehearsing, but you ain't showing up. How are you rehearsing? You can't rehearse a righteous act if you don't even show up to the act. You can't rehearse to be a singer and don't go to singing practice. But say you're rehearsing. That sounds dumb. I'm rehearsing, but I'm not singing. That's dumb. I'm rehearsing, but I'm not playing baseball. I'm a baseball player, but I don't go to any of the practices. But I'm rehearsing. If you don't go to practice, you ain't practicing. You're not rehearsing. So any Israelite that say they're rehearsing and they don't do the feast days, you're not rehearsing anything. You're breaking the law. We're going to go to Deuteronomy 17, verse 18 through 20. And it shall be, when he sitteth upon the throne of his kingdom, that he shall write him a copy of the law in a book, out of which is before the priests and the Levites. And it shall be with him, and he shall read therein all the days of his life, that he may learn to fear the Lord his God. See, a lot of you all don't fear the Lord your God. If you did, you would make sure you keep every law, because you will be afraid of what the Most High will do to you if you don't keep it. A lot of you all don't fear the Lord, so you won't wear fringes because you really don't fear the Lord. A lot of you all will wear hats on your head because you really don't fear the Lord. A lot of you won't wear fringes because you really don't fear the Lord. A lot of you won't wear a beard because you really don't fear the Lord. Verse 19 again, and it shall be with him, and he shall read therein all the days of his life, that he may learn to fear the Lord his God, to keep all the words of the law and these statutes to do them. You got to do them. That his heart be not lifted up above his brother, and that he turn not aside from the commandment to the right hand or to the left, to the end that he may prolong his days in his kingdom, he and his children in the midst of Israel. See, you're going to have to keep and not turn away from the commandments. That's how your life is prolonged. A lot of Israel having short lives because they're not keeping the commandments. God is not going to prolong your life when you're breaking his laws. You have to keep it forever, throughout your generations and your kids' generations. That's what the scriptures say. If you do not keep it, you are a wicked Israelite. If you don't understand how to keep the feast day, then there are enough Israelites that you can ask, explain to me how and when the feast days are. If you don't know how to keep the feast days, all you got to do is ask. All you have to do is put a message. Can you explain to me how you count the feast days or how you do the feast days so I can start doing it? And repent to the Most High for not keeping the feast days, and then start keeping it. The Most High will forgive you. You just have to ask for forgiveness and start doing what you're supposed to do. You're not wearing fringes, ask Most High to forgive you and start wearing fringes. You're wearing a hat on your head when you're teaching and bringing out the scriptures, ask the Most High for forgiveness and take the hat off. If you don't have a beard, grow the beard. If you're not keeping the feast days, start keeping them. That's all you have to do. Ask the Most High for forgiveness. Remember, Christ is our mediator between us and the Most High. He mediates for us. All you have to do is ask for forgiveness, and Christ will take it before the Most High. That's all you have to do. It's not hard. Stop making things hard in Israel. Stop making things, keeping commandments as they are hard. They're not hard to do. The Most High didn't make the commandments hard. It's to make your life better. So with that, start keeping the laws, because the laws are still in full force. And with that, I say shalom.